Well, let's begin here tonight, Elizabeth, with Decision 2024, our continuing political coverage. Can you believe Election Day is going to be here before we know it? And with that in mind, Iowa Secretary of State Paul Pate explaining new information which did find that non-citizens may have voted in Iowa.
And immigrant rights advocates are now voicing their concerns about these findings. David Warrington heard from both sides today. He joins us live in the studio now with more on this. David.
Ron and Elizabeth, the Secretary of State said that they found just over 2,000 registered Iowa voters have previously self-reported as non-citizens. Secretary Pate says that this is just a routine check in order to ensure clean voter rolls, while others contend this move is political in nature. Secretary of State Paul Pate spoke to UNI students and veterans today about the importance of elections and voting. Something that came up was his statement about registered voters who were found to have self-reported as non-U.S. citizens.
Recently, we did a review with the Department of Transportation with an additional component that they got some information from the federal government on that identified some individuals who told the DOT that they were not U.S. citizens. And when we cross-checked that, they were registered voters.
2,022 people in total were found to have reported as non-citizens, although Secretary Pate clarified that they may have since become citizens, something they'll look into. Joe Henry, political director for the Iowa chapter of the League of United Latin American Citizens, feels that this should be handled differently.
Instead of guesstimating whether or not somebody is now a U.S. citizen who may have been just having legal status, he could have just got on the phone, his staff could have got on the phone, they could have had a discussion with this person and did their job.
Secretary Pate also noted that if they cannot clear up someone's citizen status prior to the election, there are steps to ensure they can still vote.
If there's a question whether or not they are a citizen, they'll vote provisional, which means their ballot will be set into a side and we'll sort it out before it goes into the final vote on November 5th.
Henry argues that this will still disenfranchise some legal voters.
Because of the fact that they're going to be told probably by a poll worker that they're facing a felony if they voted illegally. A lot of new voters will not understand that. They will think that they will have a hesitancy about this. And again, it's not just the ones who've been flagged on this, it's others with similar names that may be flagged with this too.
In addition to the 2022 self-declared non-citizens, a separate audit found 87 non-citizens in Iowa that have voted. Secretary Pate said that those names have been turned over to the Attorney General's office and they may be prosecuted. Ron and Elizabeth.
All right, David. And Secretary Pate also clarified that just because these individuals may have self-declared as non-U.S. citizens at one point doesn't mean that they haven't become citizens since then. Very well could be the case. We should point out, too, of course, the 2022 people who reported as non-U.S. citizens make up less than 1/10 of 1% of Iowa's 2.3 million registered voters.